Hey guys, I'm not sure if I've really had this working, using this in any of my other videos, but this is a 2x72 belt grinder that I built. Um, I'm just going to talk for a little bit about this. This is all made of square tube stock. Um, I welded these pieces all together. It works really good. The only thing I don't like about this is because of the wheels are skateboard wheels, and I made my main drive wheel out of wood, is that it's not balanced very well, so at higher speeds it shakes, and these skateboard wheels are a little bit soft, so you know when it's under high load and under high pressure, and the belt will kind of skip over a bit. But I think once I get the actual pulley wheels on this thing, it'll run really good. It's good for now. It works. It's not too bad. But yeah, once I get new wheels for it, or if I can get a lathe and make my own, then I might do a video on that. Oh yeah, this part here is for clamping a light, so I can see what I want to do, what I'm doing if it's dark out, if I need more light. It doesn't seem to really interfere with anything. This is kind of in the way. And at the moment, I might change this and bring this over and make it into a T. But other than that, it works really good. I chose to have more than one point here to clamp this to keep it, and better. And I think it was the best idea. I've seen all the high-end ones have 2 points of contact for this fly. So just like all the other machines, if I want, I can make another tool for this if I want. Slides in and out, just like that. Just all the commercial ones, everything works basically the same. Lines right up. You see, I moved this back a little bit, so it gave it a little bit more of this adjustment. If I loosen this up, I can give it a little bit more of a hotness for the spring. I've actually been thinking about, because the spring isn't under much load here at this point, in the back, I've been thinking about making a mounting point a little bit lower below the motor here for these to actually connect to. So I think that might do better if I did that. Well, right now it works fine the way it is. I don't have a lot of travel with the flat plane this way. I think I set the back leg a little too far back. I think if I would have gained myself another 1.5 inches this way and brought the motor up more, I would have more travel with this. But other than that, I'm not too upset. This is the first time I've ever built a machine, and I'm really happy with it. I mean, there was a lot of trial and error. I did video on it. I thought about making a video, but there's lots of videos out there for these things, so I decided not to. But this right now is just a bit of show and tell. I mean, go on there, do all the research. And I built this machine for under $300. This machine, with the materials and everything, cost me about probably $250. I picked up a treadmill for $50. So the materials for like the steel cost me altogether probably about $60. And I actually got a lot of it. I have extra of two from all that I built. Um, this plywood box is from the a project I did before. Um, I used all the wiring and the components out of the treadmill, and this is the speed thing. I kept this one so I didn't have to, buy a fancy knob one and hook all that mesh up. Now, I did connect the heat cutoff switch, and I did keep the 15 amp little breaker switch on mine because I don't want to overheat this motor and then be left without it, because this thing was so useful. Even just because I can't crank it up to the high speed that I wanted to, even at that speed with the heavy belt, it is way more useful than just my grinder, because I have a skills grinder, and I have the angle grinder, and those two good, but they're not like this. I mean, I have a good flat surface. I made a good flat surface here to put this on, so I can make more tool rests. I'm thinking about making a small one. So I'm thinking about coming under and over and up and making a small tool rest. So I'm making another one. I like this one. This is a nice table one. I wanted this just so I had some good, like for things like this, I can rest this on like this. I got a good amount of this, and this is, if I see this little bit of play, if I hold this up and crank that down, that's perfectly 90 degrees against the belt. There's going to be a little play, but this isn't like, I didn't do a super professional job on this. This is good. This will work good as a commercial grinder. Well, once I get the better pulleys, it's going to work just as good as a commercial grinder. I'll have all the same capabilities except for the tilt, because I didn't build the tilt into it. But, yeah, you can get a really good grinder if you're willing to put the time in. And if you don't have a welder, I suggest getting a cheap hobby welder, like at Harbor Freight, those 90 amp ones. You could do that with this. And make your own. I would get a flux core wire feed welder, because it's gonna increase your learning curve on welding. I have a stick welder. Stick welding is easy, but there's some skills you have to learn. You have to be able to feed your rod in at a constant rate, for one. And the rod likes to stick a lot more. The wire feed welder is a little bit more forgiving. So I would go with that as far as the learning curve, because the feed rate and the heat and everything's just, it just takes a couple of the steps out that you would have to do by hand, to weld. It will make your life a little easier, unless you want to stick weld. But I would suggest welding your thing together. The only reason why I have vibration in this is because these are skateboard wheels, and I made a plywood drive wheel in the back. Now, here's the thing you're going to want to know about using treadmill motors. So the treadmill motor, the screws it's a left-hand screw. So if you supplement a different drive wheel and flip it over to the other side, it's going to come off unless you put a key notch in it and put like a little locking screw on the nuts. Because I used the flywheel as a nut. I went and cut the large, the big round part off, but used the center part hub as a screw. And I kind of wish I would have just let it and did it the other way, because it would have saved me a lot of grief, and it would have just stayed tight while it was running. But me, I wanted my motor to face that way, and I had to do a little extra steps. But I'm really happy I made this, and like I said, I made this for under $300. Under 300. I mean, it took me like a good week of getting everything figured out and stuff. go ahead. I'm gonna get a tape measure. I'm gonna measure the component, just kind of give you an idea. Okay, so this main body is 15 inches long. So let's go ahead and turn this around so you can see it better. Give you a little bit of a tour of this. Yeah, I made this so I can cart it around on this cart. I actually have wheels on it. So I can do this. I can wheel it, pick it up. That all came from the treadmill. Those treadmill wheels. Like I went and got everything done up and everything. Mapped it out. Let's see here. So this thing's about 15 inches long. That's 15 inches long. Right. Let's go ahead and release the belt real quick. Those are 8 inches long. And then they're exactly 5 inches apart. I think I should have made this 4 inches apart, and I would have had more travel for this, like forward, as far as this plate. I used the 1 foot by 1 foot square plate that you can get in a Home Depot store, and I mapped this out myself. It really isn't that difficult to do the plate. It seems daunting at first. If you get some big like construction paper, I would do the square using that piece of steel, and then map it out on that a few times and cut it out and see how you like it. And this was just a piece of angle iron and some flat stock. Now I didn't make mine changeable. I set mine up so it just stays right there. I'm probably going to have to change this once I get the better wheels. Alright, so let's go ahead and measure this one. This one sits 5 inches off, so 5 inches off. This arm is 1 foot long. This piece is 3 inches high. But this whole thing is not really that complicated machine. This is a 2 horsepower. This is the drive wheel I made. I did this with just a simple hand compass. I made a rig on my sander, my little 1x30 belt sander. It had a peg in it, and I put it in the peg, and I just spun it around. I made it nice and round. And then what I did is when I had it on this, I went and shaped it up a little bit with a chisel to give it a little bit of a bevel in the center. And I did the same thing on that belt sander. These all have a little bit of dry bevel so that it stays in the center. It's not. I mean, it's going to take you a little bit. It's a little bit of thinking to get through it, but it's not that difficult. So here's the inside of how that works. Now I shimmed this up a little bit because I didn't want this thing shaking around everywhere. Like these pieces, they don't like just shake and rattle and roll. I didn't want that because it would have been extra vibration. But other than that, this has been a really good machine. And the angle plate down there is the same. After I weld these on, I figured out that I had to notch these out to clear the belt. That I really didn't. I didn't account for this to begin with. I didn't. When I put the motor under here, I didn't realize with the wheel that the motor was going to set so low. But I think I'm actually thinking about getting a hobby lathe and seeing if I can get one so I can do aluminum castings and make my own wheels. Is what I want to do. That's my plan. And then I got to figure out where I'm going to put that. I'm probably going to have to do some tool change around and whatnot. But other than that, it's been really good. I did just some basic stuff. I didn't. Let you see, I welded on the nuts here. I'll use 6011 rod for everything, so the welds aren't so bad. I mean, I didn't have any like I did a lot of practicing, welding practice before I put this one together because I knew I needed to be good and ready to weld this up because I wanted to be straight and true. Make sure you use welder's magnets on all this stuff. This is very important if you want this stuff to line up real well. See that? Nice and square. Always nice and square. If you do that all the way around, and what I did is I picked one side, like this is actually flush here. It's not going to be exactly flush on the other side because this square stock isn't always perfect all the way around, but you know, I put another one of these like this, so it's going to be flush. Everything's going to be nice and square. So these, I would get, I do wish I had a bigger set of these when I did this, but this was enough to get away with. But you're definitely going to need this. This is very important. So, but yeah, so let's go ahead. I'm going to take the camera off and give you a little bit more of a 360 round view of it. Let's go in here. You see, this was the center hub of the flywheel thing. I just cut around the circle, so that's my nut, and that's my key screw, so that doesn't somehow come off during the process. I also have a keyway. I welded a piece of metal on top of the center rod, and there's actually a little key thing, so this will only slide on that part. That helps with the you know, so it doesn't slip off and nothing. So it's been good so far. I want to make a new one. I like to make it out of aluminum. See, use washers as spacers to help get everything aligned. As you can see where the wheels actually sit on this. I think I might bring these up more of a peak, see if I can get it to run more true and more efficient. But yeah, this whole thing was under $300. I used all the steel and stuff from the from the treadmill itself to make a stand for it, so I can run it in and out of my little shop here. So I want to use this so I can adjust the speed. Go around the other side. So I made this box just in case I ever got caught out in the rain. I know the motor is tough. If this gets rained on, it's not going to be a problem. But I saved all the electronics. Like this is a 15 amp trip switch, which is great. I even hooked up like the heat sensor, which I think is important so you don't burn your motor out. So definitely would wire that back up. You know, at the end of this video of my armor build, you know what I will do? I will, I do have, like, pictures of the wiring for the treadmill motor, so maybe I'll just go ahead and I'll put that on there just in case anyone needs to know. Or I might just do a separate show and tell video of this. Maybe that'll what I'll do with some information. But yeah, you can have a really good belt grinder for cheap if you're willing to put time in it. It's like, oh, I don't have the capability. You have the capability. You're a person. You have hands. You have a mind. Use it. Use your hands and your mind, dude. Stop talking yourself out of it. Talk yourself into it. It'd be a great learning experience. I learned a lot from this. A lot. So